All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome back. Hope you guys had a great weekend. Bitcoin, well, I mean, Bitcoin's doing its thing, right? It's all over the place. It's up, it's down. Friday was a wild day. We had a huge candle wick down to 53,700. Bounced off of that, went straight back up, but we're still battling with 53,000. I think we're getting close to that right now. We'll take a look at what's going on there. There might be some good news on the 1 hour chart compared to the RSI. We might be starting to get a reversal on that where we might be inching back up higher, but I'll show you guys what I mean in that. Other than that, we have Digital to talk about. We have CORZ Scientific and Iren Energy, or it's Iren now. It's not Iris Energy. It's Iren. Their production updates for June, and then we'll get into the weekly Bitcoin versus the miners as well, and then we'll get into you guys' Q&A side of things here. So it should be a fun one. And hopefully you guys had a great weekend. I did. I'm a little sore. I've been working on the upstairs. Well, upstairs. I'm in the basement, so the upstairs kitchen remodel. That's progressing quite nicely here. I got the guy coming in tomorrow to do electricity. Then we got drywall coming in on Tuesday and Wednesday, and then floors coming in. So this week should be a busy week for me as well, but we'll try to get you guys all caught up on everything else here. But as always, not financial advice for entertainment only. Please do your own research, and I'm invested in the following coins and companies. As always, my full disclosure here for you guys. And if you guys enjoy this type of content, hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously here. So let's take a look at really quick to some on Bitcoin charts really quick as far as like the network hash rate, which right now on the 7-day average, we're sitting at approximately 574. We did come down to about 550 here in the last couple of days, 552 as well. We're back up here a little bit here. We'll see where this goes going forward. On the, let's see here, 30 days, what I like to use, we're kind of trading sideways here, at least on the network hash rate wise. We're at 582 right now. We'll see if we bottomed out. I don't know if we bottomed out completely yet, but we might be getting close to the bottom here on the, I guess you could say, the cleansing of the network hash rate from the older miners and things like that. We might be getting close to being done with that, but we'll see. As far as Bitcoin transaction fees per day, those are pretty low right now, actually. Those are right now 12.4 BTC per day. Like I said, pretty low. We're used to seeing like 20 and 30, but we're definitely trending downwards here with Bitcoin price coming down and not a lot of action happening with ordinals and with... what's the other one? Runes as well, right? On the chain, so we're not seeing that. And that's having an impact on the network or hash price as well, hash price index. The hash price right now is at, what is that? At 45. So we're coming back down as price of Bitcoin has been coming down. The low here was about 44. So we're under the $50, which is not good for the miners, right? We want that to be higher and to go higher even further. But here's where Bitcoin is right now. Bitcoin is, I mean, you can see here, it's getting really, really close here to the 53,000 mark that we had as support here. And I talked about this last week, right? You guys remember, even last Monday, I said I didn't like the setup on the RSI. I thought we might be coming back down a little bit more. And sure enough, we did. And this was, let's see, when was it? Monday here. Yeah, Monday we were at, where was that? 62,000. I said we might be coming down, test the 200 simple moving day average, which we did. And then we fell below it. We tested the 57,000 mark here as well, and we fell below it. We had a huge wick on Friday here, down to the 53,000 mark. We bounced off of that. There was a nice candle there. And then we had a good day on Saturday, but today, Sunday, we came back down. We were down 4.1% on the day. And then into the new day, which is going to be now on Monday, we are down again some more, another almost 2% on it. We're down to 54,744. We came pretty close to that 53,000 mark. The low was 54,278. And the RSI here on it, if you look at it, it's right there, right on the 30 mark here. We were back here just a couple of days ago. Price was actually higher on the close side of things, and Bitcoin price actually is down lower now, right? So that's why I said last time on Monday, I was seeing the same thing where I'm like, I think we might be coming back down some more. And sure enough, we did. But here's a good thing. On the 1 hour chart, I'm starting to see where the RSI right now is roughly like 22, the same level that it was back here. This was on Thursday. And at that point, price was lower. We are higher in price with the same RSI, which makes me think that we might be starting to reverse trend maybe, right? If this doesn't hold true and doesn't change over on the same thing like that on the 4 hour chart where the RSI, we're seeing the same thing on the levels here where the RSI is the same, but going back in history, price was actually lower. Then that would null and void it. But I'm hoping that with, at least on the 1 hour chart, we're seeing the change here that this will correlate back into the 4-hour and the daily timeframes as well on the RSI. But if that doesn't hold, we might be coming down to retest the 53,700 mark. And if that doesn't hold, we're going down to 51,000 mark. That's why I posted a question for you guys here if you guys think we might be coming back down. And right now it's 59% of you think that we might be going down to that mark, which is a probability there right now, right? It's kind of up in the air right now. I'm not sure exactly which way it's going to go. Like I said, the 1-hour RSI is making me think that we might be starting a reversal into the upside here, but we'll see. All right, now as far as the miners, how did the miners do last week on Friday? It was surprising, right? Bitcoin was down quite a bit here on Friday. It had a wild swing on it, but the miners were down in the beginning of the day as well, and then they kind of pulled back up here. So the miners were actually in the green here, like BitDigital was up 8.8%, Bitfarms was up 6%. Who else you had here? You had Cypher up 1%, CORZ 1.6%, Hive was up huge, 9.51%, Hut up 2%, Iren up 4.7%, Riot up just slightly 0.73%, and Wolf being up 7% on that. So it was definitely nice to see that the miners still outperformed Bitcoin. And when we look at the weekly charts for the miners for the past week, we'll actually see a huge difference between what Bitcoin did and what the miners did. I was quite surprised by that. So maybe the miners are still front running Bitcoin a little bit here going forward. Only time will tell if that's the case. But that's it on the charts. Let's take a look at what's going on here with the updates that we have here for the month of June for. So BitDigital is the first one at bat here. They announced their monthly production update for June. And here's what we got. Theirs is pretty short and simple. They produced 61.7 BTC. The company's active hash rate was approximately 2.57. I think this is the average that they're calculating here. I have them a little bit higher at like 2.7 or something like that. Because if I use 2.57, if I included also the Bitcoin transaction fees for the month for them in June and what they were operating at, I mean, they were like operating at over 30 days on average. So I think this is why they're using the average here on it. Okay, holdings here. BTC, 585.9. That is a decrease. I think they sold, well, we'll take a look at it, but they sold almost like half of what they had here. And I think that is to fund their new contract with the customer that they have for HPC. So we'll take a look at that as well. And that is basically it here for them. So let's take a look at my spreadsheet that I have for them. I'll get into the next one as well. So BitDigital right now has 121 million shares outstanding, market cap 431. This is as of Friday, stock price of 357. The performance here over the last 12 weeks has been actually pretty good. Up 80% from 12 weeks ago, up 64% from 8 weeks ago. From 4 weeks, they're up 33%, and then last week they were up 12.26%, right? Well, Bitcoin was actually down on the week. We'll take a look at that here in a minute. Current hash rate, 2.761 exahash is what I have. Future hash rate right around there, so they're pretty much fully installed here. Bitcoin HODL is now 585.9. That's valued at 38 million here. And the BTC production here has been coming down, like a lot of the miners have been coming down as well. But they're down a little bit more here, just slightly in June compared to May. Revenues also down a little bit here at 4 million. So that's basically the same amount that they get in HPC revenue right now. So they're getting the 4 million from BTC mining and 4 million roughly in HPC, but that's going to increase once they have the HPC servers installed and that contract there is added into it. For now, it's going to be like 97 million, I think, total per year. BTC HODL, you can see here that they had 1,038 Bitcoin in May, right? And they sold almost half, not quite half, but almost half in June here. I think it's to fund that growth there. Monthly hash rate difference, I have them at the same amount here, not changed. BTC sold, they sold 514 here for the month, which is a huge number here. That's the most that they've sold here all year, it looks like. They sold also 421 in October of last year, which I think was also to fund the growth with their HPC customers that they have now, right? So it seems like they're using BTC to fund the HPC side of things. BTC per exahash efficiency at 22.35, which is actually really good here. Bitcoin sold value sold about 33.89 million roughly on it. Okay, going down here to institutions. Institutions did decrease here a little bit to 164. Shares did increase though to 50.89 million, and then percentage increase as well to 42.29. We still have the 1 strong buy rating, 3 buy rating, 0 hold, 0 perform, 0 sells. Price target stayed the same for the high at $6. The average went up to $5.33, and the low stayed at $4.50 on them. Okay. Going down here as far as what they mined here in the month, I added 404,000 for the Bitcoin transaction fees added to the month here, and they were operating for about 29.29 days out of the month here with the 1.7 exahash, right? If I dropped them down to what they reported at 2.5 something, I would have had them operating at more than 31 days or something like that in order to make the numbers work at that point. So this is why I'm using the 2.7. Okay. That's it for that one here. Okay. So going into my price targets for them, I'm in between $4.06 to $6.09. They're at $3.57. I think they're still undervalued here. And then if I look at future estimates for them, which includes now the 4 million monthly HPC revenue. So we're looking at the month of June, what the revenue was, multiplying it times 12. And that's the revenue I'm getting here for the year, roughly, if things stay the same, right? At that point, we're looking at $6 to $9 on them potentially. So the HPC side of things is definitely adding a lot more to it here. And I thought that would be kind of fair because they do get the revenue for it as well. Okay. Other than that, what do we think here of Bit Digital? I like the company. I like what they're doing. I wish they would only get more infrastructure for themselves. They're asset light right now, right? But Sam has talked about they're in the process of possibly buying an infrastructure or a data center potentially. That would be good, I think, because right now, I mean, the stock is getting valued a little bit here, but I think if they have their own infrastructure and they're not as asset light, that would maybe give them a little bit more of a boost in the stock price potentially, right? So that's kind of where I see things right now. And I would like to see them grow their own self-mining hash rate too. They're only at 2.7, 2.5, whatever it might be. I'd like to see them definitely get above 5, get closer to 6 by the end of the year, which was their target here. So we'll see how they do on that. All right, so that is it. Let me know what you guys think about it, any questions or anything like that. We'll get into that here shortly. Let's get into the next one here. So next one is on CORZ Scientific. They announced their June 2024 production and operations update. And here's what we got from them. We have a little comment here. We also improved our average self-miner energy efficiency to 23.6 joules per terahash, supporting favorable mining economics in this post-halving environment by leveraging the talent and experience of our expert data center team at a time when the growth of artificial intelligence is driving unprecedented high-power data center demand. We believe that we can maximize the value of our digital infrastructure portfolio and create significant value for our shareholders, Mr. Sullivan added. Okay. So I think they improved efficiencies by maybe underclocking their machines potentially, or swapping out some of the older ones maybe. I'm not sure which way they did it, but you can obviously underclock machines and improve energy efficiencies that way as well. But here's what we have here. So self-mined Bitcoin was 430. That's down from May, which was 447. Hosting Bitcoin earned was 110. That's down also from 128 they had in May. Average self-mined Bitcoin earned per day, 14.3, so it's pretty close to what they had before. Self-mining energized hash rate, 19.4 from 20.4, so they're down 1 exahash here. They either, like I said, underclocked their machines, or they actually moved machines or swapped machines or turned off machines, something like that. I don't think they swapped anything because they don't have nothing to swap. They don't have any newer miners coming in. Let's see, Bitcoin sold 479, and then average self-mining fleet efficiency was 23.61. That's an improvement from the 24.23 they had in May here. So that's why I'm thinking they may be underclocked as well. What else do we have here? And that is basically it. You guys can read the rest on it here. So let's take a look at Core really quick here. Core right now has about 177 million shares outstanding, right? We know that once the tranches get exercised, the warrants, those will increase the number of shares to about 404, I believe is the kind of consensus there, right? The stock price is at $10.29 right now. The market cap is 1.8 billion. Their performance over the last 12 weeks has been actually really good here. I mean, they're up from 12 weeks ago, 231%, 8 weeks, 178%. Last 4 weeks, they're actually down just slightly, 0.4%. And then last week, they were up 10.65%. So really good run here for them. Current hash rate 19.4, future hash rate 20.4, but I think that's all the machines anyways being installed. So there's not really much growth there on that one. They don't hodl anything right now. Their BTC production here, you can see, has been coming down, but it has been for other miners here. And you'll see that if miners are not growing their hash rate, right, or they're at least not, if they're not growing their hash rate and not exceeding at least the network hash rate growth, their production should be coming down here. Okay, revenue side of things, 28.34 million roughly I estimated here compared to the 29.14, so that's down a little bit here, but not that much. Hash rate difference, you can see that. We talked about it already. Bitcoin sold, they sell everything. BTC per exahash efficiency, 22.16. Actually, a slight improvement from May here. So I think that's maybe driven by the underclocking of the machines, right? I think we also had a decrease in the difficulty as well, which could have helped there as well. And then BTC sold value, how much they sold. Going down here to institutions side of things here, we can see that institutions did increase here again, 138 now. Shares increased to 78.48%. Percentage owned went up to 41.38. And then we have now 3 strong buy ratings for them, 2 buy ratings, 2 hold ratings, 0 underperforms, 0 sells, and the price targets went way up here to $17 for the high. Average went up to 11.6, and the low still stayed. That should be 50 cents. Sorry. That should have been 50. Nope, not 0, 0. Should have been 0.5. There we go. Okay, so I just caught that. Fixed it. And so that's looking pretty good there. Going down here to what we had them set up as. I did actually get rid of some of these 98.5 terahash miners, right? I don't know if they underclocked them. That's a possibility. I'm thinking they possibly got rid of some of these older machines here, or at least turned them off. And then they were running, instead of the 31,450, they were running 21,400 roughly to get us to the 19.4 exahash down here. And they were operating for about 26.16 days on average here based on that. And I gave them about 2.8 million here in Bitcoin transaction fees as well, based on what the percentage was for June here. All right. So that's that part of it. Where do I see them at right now? Right now, I see them between $19.22 to $28.83. They're at $10.29. This would make me think that they're undervalued. But remember, once the warrants get exercised, there's going to be dilution in the shares. So if they get to 404 million, right, that's almost double there. Divide those numbers by, you could divide those numbers by, 2, and you would get somewhere around $9 something to, what is that going to be? $14, something like that. So I still think that they are undervalued, or kind of fairly valued to undervalued potentially. And then we're looking again here for their future numbers here, which is just based on their current June numbers for revenue, multiplying it times 12, and I get 1434 to 2152. We do know that they're going to have HPCI business come next year sometime, right around this time as well. So that should improve as well. Plus, we believe Bitcoin is going to go up in value as well. That should improve things for them also going forward. So what do we think about Core? I like Core. I have Core. I own Core. I've been talking about them being undervalued for a long time, probably going back to like even last year. But the bankruptcy at that point was a big driver for not getting into them, at least for myself. My dad was still getting into it, buying more. Maybe he has an Oracle or something like that. He's been able to get a pretty good average price on Core here. But that was the reason I wouldn't get into it because of the bankruptcy. After the bankruptcy, I still thought that they were undervalued for what they were producing just on Bitcoin mining themselves. And then when we got the news that they have CoreWeave, signing a contract for that with them for 12 years at, was it 3.5 billion or something like that? I'm like, okay, they're going to do fine going forward. They're getting out of it. And I did buy into them at that point. So any of you guys that have bought in before that, congrats to you guys. You guys nailed it before that. And yeah, congrats. But the only thing we really want to see from them now is possibly get more HPC AI customers, right? And also grow their self-mining hash rate here by at least, once the warrants get exercised, they could possibly swap out about 10 exahash of their own machines, put in newer machines. That would get them, just doing that alone would get them to 30 exahash here on that side of things here. So I see good things happening for Core here going forward. And yeah, we'll just see where it goes. But yeah, I'm bullish on Core. All right, next one here is going to be on Iren. So Iren provides June 2024 monthly investor update. And theirs is pretty short and sweet as well. Average operating hash rate was 9.3 exahash. They have 10 exahash installed, so they did curtail some there. Bitcoin mine was 233, a slight increase over May here, 230. And then Howard profit margin was 41%, so that's down from the 46% that they had there. And I think that's because the electricity cost went up here to 39.4 thousand per Bitcoin instead of the 35,000 there. Their AI cloud service revenue, so HPC, went up to 1 million roughly instead of the 900,000 they had here roughly in May. So that was good there as well. On that, what else do we have here? Okay, see, June operations. Slightly lower operating hash rate in June due to 4CP participation during the 4 summer months. Expected to result in full year power cost savings of a half a penny. Power sales, ERS, demand response, and equipment commissioning related activities. Okay, so a savings is a savings, so they curtailed in those days there. Okay, going down here to Iren here really quick as well. We can see them about 186 million shares outstanding, market cap 2.8 billion right now. I think they actually overtook Riot for the number 3 spot right now, I believe. Let's take a look at it really quick here. But I think, yeah, Iren's number 3 spot right now as it is, followed by CORZ Scientific, and actually we may have TeraWolf above CORZ Scientific right now. Yeah, 1.859, 1.829. Yeah, so 30 million above that. So TeraWolf is actually slightly above CORZ Scientific right now. Going back to Iren here, their performance over the last 12 weeks has been outstanding also, kind of like CORZ has. They're up 203% from 12 weeks ago, up 149, almost 150% from 8 weeks ago. From 4 weeks ago, they're up 13%. Last week, this past week, they were up 33%, even with Bitcoin going down, right? So that was just amazing feat on its own. Current hash rate, 10 exahash, future hash rate 30, right? They're still on target to reach that by the end of the year. They don't hodl anything. Bitcoin production here has been coming down. A nice little improvement here in June. Not much, but at least an improvement nonetheless. Bitcoin revenue also increased a little bit here as well to 15.35 million instead of the 14.9 million. Hash rate difference, hash rates has stayed the same. We'll get some more, probably, I don't know if we're going to get it for July. I'm guessing maybe August and September is when they're really going to be growing another 10 exahash, but maybe we will get some growth here in July as well. We'll see. Bitcoin sold, they sold everything that they mine. BTC per exahash efficiency is still pretty efficient here, 23.25. Bitcoin sold value, what they sold it for. Going down here, institutions did increase a little bit for them, 123 now. We end up, but the shares went down a little bit here to 39.66 million. And the percentage went down to 26.38, which leads me to believe that this was based on the dilution there from the ATM that they said they got fully funded to 30 exahash by the end of the year, right? So that takes account of that as well. We still have one strong buy rating, 6 buy ratings, 0 hold, 0 underperform, 0 sells. Price targets are up to $23 now for the high. Average went up to $15.58 and the low went up to $10 here on them. Going down here for their operation side of things here, in June, I had them operating about 28.7 days out of the month here. Added about 1.5 million here in Bitcoin transaction fees. And that's how we got to 15.345, which coincides with what we got up here as well. So that all works out there. So they did curtail a little bit. And then where do I see them at right now? I have them between $9.92 to $14.87. They are at $15.03. I think they might be a little overheated or a little bit overvalued right now. But even if we look at the HPC side of the business, right, which came in about 1 million here for the month of June, include that into their June numbers for revenue times 12, we get them to $10.50 to $15.76. By that, I would think that maybe they are fairly valued, right? And then if they continue to grow their hash rate to 20 exahash by the end of Q3, 30 exahash by the end of Q4, I could definitely see them getting up higher as well. In that too, where the analysts are kind of seeing them at $23 to $10 on the low end side of things. I'm a little bit lower than that right now, but that could obviously change here as things progress for them and for the other miners as well, if they're growing, right? Okay, thoughts on Iren really quick here. Great operations, great execution here recently as well. They've done all the right things, I believe. Yeah, I mean, not much to complain here about Iren, right? I've been talking about Iren also for a long time as well. Kind of like the same thing with Cleanspark, but Iren had a little bit of an issue here in the bear market, 2022, where they had the special purpose vehicles where they had to give away like 3 exahash back to the lender at that point because they were not profitable on it, weren't making cash flow on it. Put a pause on watching him at that point. I was going to buy it in 2022, but didn't get into them until actually 2023. So I've been buying since November and December of last year on them. Bought a lot more just recently in the last couple of weeks. Okay, so really happy with Iren. We'll see what kind of growth we get here in July and August and September. See how, I'm guessing they're probably going to be pretty close to reaching the 20 exahash if they don't reach it exactly. Right, they've been pretty good here so far. So I have high hopes for them reaching that. Okay, so that's it for those. Let's get into the weekly numbers here for Bitcoin and Bitcoin miners, and we'll get into your guys' Q&A side of things as well. So on this chart, we always look at how high the miners have come up from the 52-week lows, right, which are these bars up here, and then how far away they are from the 52-week highs, which are the bars down here. So TeraWolf has been the best performer here in the last 52 weeks. Previously, it used to be CleanSpark, right? So now TeraWolf. TeraWolf is up 527% here in the last 52 weeks from its low, followed by Iren being up 438%, CleanSpark 374%, BitDeer 316%, CORZ 294%, Bitfarms 190%, Marathon 181%, HUT 866%. Bitcoin is only up 127% from the bottom that it reached in the 52 weeks here. Cypher is 118%, BitDigital 102%, Hive 53%, and Riot a measly 23% on that one. So Riot actually has done now worse than Hive. Hive was like one of the ones that has been underperforming here for a while here. But basically, you got these 4 miners here that are underperforming Bitcoin right now. These guys here in the back end more so than these two over here, Cypher and BitDigital. Okay, you can see TeraWolf is pretty close to its 52-week highs. It just reached probably this past week. Iren, same thing, right? And then you got CleanSpark's about 35% away from its 52-week highs. BitDeer 21%. CORZ pretty close to that, also to their 52-week highs at 3.8% away. And then Bitcoin is 23% away from its 52-week high, which was 73,000 roughly. All right. Now, looking at the miners' performance here for the past week, I mean, check this out. Bitcoin is actually down 6% on the week, and everybody here has, in one way or another, has outperformed Bitcoin here, with Iren leading the pack. Iren was up 33% this past week. TeraWolf was up 25%. Cypher up 13%. BitDeer up 12%, along with BitDigital. CORZ up 11%. HUT up 10%. Hive up 8%. Riot up 5%. Bitfarms up 4%. Marathon up 2%. And CleanSpark 1% here, right? We saw with CleanSpark that they have outperformed everybody in the past, but now all of these other guys are kind of overtaking it here recently, right? So eventually we might see CleanSpark do a kind of, or not rebalancing, but we might have a, well, kind of rebalancing, I guess you could say, or what's that? Gosh, I'm drawing a blank here. A rotation back into some of these other miners that have been underperforming here recently, right? So we might see that in CleanSpark, Marathon, Bitfarms, Riot as well, where we might see that rotation back into them. If you look at the, let's see here, I almost forgot. The 4 weeks, we can see Bitcoin's down 14%. Everybody has pretty much outperformed Bitcoin at that point. Some are still in negative, but they outperformed it. If we look at the 8 weeks, at this point, you can see here that TeraWolf up 186, CORZ up 178, Bitcoin's down 15. Everybody else outperformed here. And then the 12 weeks, we can see that Bitcoin also, again, down 11%. CleanSpark is the only one that's down here right now, down 7% from 12 weeks ago. Everybody else has outperformed here in that time frame. So if you rotated out of some of the ones that did outperform in the past, like CleanSpark and Marathon and others, and got into some of these other ones, congrats to you guys. You guys did fantastic here on it. Going down here, we can see, check this out. Bitcoin in the last 4 weeks has been down. It's been on a downward trend, and I track it Friday to Friday, right? Bitcoin's been on a downward trend here for the past 4 weeks, whereas the miners, this is really interesting here. For the most part, we were green, somewhat green here as well, and really green here last week. So the miners are starting to kind of decouple a little bit from Bitcoin, and maybe that's because the miners are more forward-looking as far as what their revenue is going to be going forward, Bitcoin going up, right? And right now with Bitcoin, people are freaking out over Germany selling Bitcoin in the market. You got Mt. Gox as well, going to be distributing coins as well. That's all having an impact on Bitcoin right now. So we'll see where things end up on that side of things here, okay? But it's kind of nice to take a look at this table as well, see where things have been and where things are kind of stacking up right now. Because in the past, I mean, we had a little bit here in April where Bitcoin was down, right? Miners were up. Bitcoin was down, miners were up. But overall, for the most part, if Bitcoin's down, usually the miners are down. Bitcoin's up, the miners are up. And even we've had it here where we were in beginning of January, right? Bitcoin was going up, but the miners were going down. So that was kind of interesting to see there. Okay, but that is it. So as always, greatly appreciate you guys coming in here. And my little sales pitch, as always, you guys know the drill. Get access to all my spreadsheets on Patreon. The link is down in the description for that as well. That's $8 a month. You might be able to find a couple spots that are still open in $5 or $4 tier range. with all those, you get access to all my spreadsheets. So you get access to our Discord server, which is private as well. And if you pay the monthly or the annual subscription, you get 10% off on top of that. So that is it. So greatly appreciate everybody that's a Patreon member. You guys here that are YouTube members as well, and YouTube viewers. You guys help support and allow me to do these things, right? Otherwise, my wife would be like, why are you wasting your time? You're not getting paid for any of this stuff. So you guys are helping me support there and keep my wife off my back a little bit here. So that's it. All right, let's get into your guys' Q&A side of things. We'll see where that takes us, and we'll call it a day. All right, I had to take a sip of my water because my throat's starting to get dry. Okay. All right, what do we got here? So I may have missed some questions here. I'm going to start from the first ones that I see here. So question, spreadsheet under stock estimates, you calculate CORZ PE 15, but others PE 20. Why is that? That is based on their growth going forward. CORZ doesn't have any growth here right now. We know that they want to grow, right? But nothing has been purchased. Companies that have purchased miners to grow their hash rate, those get a little bit higher PE value. But I could possibly lift them up to 20, right? We do know that once the warrants get exercised, they are probably going to grow their hash rate. But that's kind of what I'm doing there. Question, what's your guess? Which one is the next Iren next week's regarding the stock performance? Which one's the next? Oh, geez, I don't know. I mean, Iren has done really well here recently. Like I said, we might have a rotation from some of these guys that have done really well over the last couple months to some of the ones that have underperformed, which would include maybe Marathon, Cleanspark, Riot. Riot hasn't really done well at all. So we might see that. I'm not sure. Brett says here, Germany actually bought some Bitcoin back. I heard from other people, which contradict this a little bit. They've said that Germany puts in X amount of Bitcoins to be sold each day. If they don't sell, they get those back. And that's maybe what's looking like they're buying back in. So something to look into. I'm not sure if that's the case, but that's kind of what I heard. Hi, Seb, do you accept channel memberships in BTC? No, I don't think I wouldn't mind it, but I don't think YouTube allows it, nor does Patreon allow it. So unfortunately not. Let's see. How soon do you expect to hear news from the Canadian courts regarding Riot contesting the shareholders' plan? If they fail, do you expect they'll make one final offer, all cash or all stock? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's a couple of you guys that are in Canada. You guys follow this a lot better than I can. I don't even know where to go in the court systems in Canada on that. So hopefully maybe somebody will be able to comment here that's watching right now. But as far as if they fail to, let me see, if Riot, I guess, fails, do I expect them to put in one last final offer? I mean, it would have to be a substantial offer. I'm not sure that Riot wants to do that. So I don't know. I think if they don't put a stop to the share rights plan by Bitfarms, I think they might be out. They might just call it a day and be out. But we'll see. Nobody really knows. Hello, Seb. Friday, July 6th, saw 145 million net inflows into the ETFs. Would you expect Bitcoin price to reflect this on Monday or maybe Tuesday next week after buying activity by the ETFs? Thanks. Normally we would see that, well, we saw inflows. We should see that tomorrow, right? Tomorrow is when they usually get cleared. It's 1 day plus or 1 day more. So if we saw the inflows on Friday, we should see the buying activity tomorrow. So we'll see it when that happens. Question, which miner do you see as the most undervalued, most upside right now based on the data? Based on the data, I would say probably Hive. Hive is definitely way undervalued from where it should be. I think Bitfarms also. Who else is in there? Riot right now. Riot, it looks kind of ripe for a nice uptick here. We'll see. Let's see here. Forbes, digital asset Feds critical warning sparks serious 50,000 Bitcoin price crash alert as 200 billion is wiped from Ethereum. Extra speed Solana. Scott, thank you so much for the super chat here. Here's a few bucks to keep your wife off your back. I appreciate it. Thank you. My wife, I love my wife. My wife is great. She's very understanding, but I think if I didn't generate at least some kind of revenue here, she'd be like, why are you wasting your time doing this? She's very supportive. I'll be honest with you guys. It was like 9 months before I started making anything on YouTube. So hats off to my wife. Very supportive at that point. She's like, she could have just said, you know, quit it. You're not making anything on this. Let's see here. Hi, will Bitfarms buy more HPC AI infrastructure? Thanks. Well, they haven't bought anything yet. Right, talking about Bitfarms. They put in a little statement in the, was it June production update? That they are open to HPC AI and other things like that at the facility that they just got in Pennsylvania, right? Which was 100 and, correct me if I'm wrong, 120 or 170 megawatts. I can't remember exactly. Michael says, Powell warned on Bitcoin crash last Wednesday, which looks bad for more downside. Yeah, I'm not sure why Powell was warning about it. Let's see. Hi, Special. Would you recommend buying BitDigital now? They have 30,000 ETH as Ethereum ETF coming and upcoming HPC contract and data center. Yeah, I still think that they're undervalued from where they should be, really. If they do what they say they're going to do, which I believe they will, right, with a new contract, new customer, or not the new customer, same customer, but extended contract on that. And then depending, I don't know how much of an impact it's going to have on Ethereum with the ETFs. So that's a big question there for me. We'll see if it does the same thing like Bitcoin did, right? What else was there? Oh, I would like to see them also maybe buy a data center or something like that. Get a little bit less asset light. I think that would be good for the stock. Any updates on the CORZ warrants exercising? You said last week you felt like it would be a few more days. Sorry if I misheard. No, that's kind of what I thought. I thought it had to be like 20 days, 20-day average of the Bitcoin price. The share price had to be above that strike price, right? Now, I don't know if that's automatically going to get triggered or if the company is then able to trigger it if they want. I don't know. I don't know how that's going to work out. Let's see. Riot versus Bitfarms. The hearing of the application in the above named matter is scheduled to be heard on July 22nd and July 23rd at 10 a.m. Okay, I understand. Okay, thank you. Yeah, so we still have some time before we find out what's going on with Bitfarms and Riot. Let's see. Iren with no hodl has a market cap higher than Riot. The market is basically giving Riot zero value to their hodl. Or the other way around. They're giving zero value to their operations. Right? You got to look at it both ways. A lot of times what happens is we saw this with HUD for a long time too, was their HUD was like 80% of their market cap, right? So it wasn't based on their operations because their operations were crap. And they're still pretty bad right now. So I think that's maybe more so on that side of things. Maybe also the market isn't very in favor of them trying to buy Bitfarms out. I don't know, right? I think they need to see investors, institutions, I think maybe need to see more uptime at the facility, especially at Corsicana going forward. We've gotten some pretty better numbers here in June, but we need to see much better numbers, I think, in July. What is your argument for buying WGMI individual versus individual miner stocks? I personally just own individual stocks, never felt the need for a basket. Yeah, people that don't, so I mean, the good thing about WGMI and like the ETFs for miners is they pick pretty good. I mean, they still have some bad ones in there, but for the most part, they have some good ones in there. So at least you're getting an exposure to it all. You don't have to worry about one miner going under or something like that. You're pretty well covered there, right? So it's a little bit safer, I feel like, than if you pick individual stocks, right? I also have individual stocks, and then for my retirement account, I can't pick individual stocks. I have to do ETFs or mutual funds. I have WGMI in there because I don't have a choice. And so you can do that there as well. Why were miners up Friday with BTC crashing? Sometimes the miners front run Bitcoin price. We've seen that a couple times before. We saw it last week, even earlier in the week as well. We saw it prior week as well, I think, where Bitcoin miners were front running Bitcoin. And that could be just based on the sentiment that Bitcoin will eventually go up. Miners will start making more. I think that's the reason for it there. Could be also that the HPC AI plays getting into this as well, right? So could be a couple of reasons. Hey, Sebastian, seems like the AI HPC miners have run first, and if BTC goes on a run, then the hodlers will run September maybe. Could be, right? That could be the case. If you had 100,000 to deploy, what two companies would you put 50K in each? Right now, I would probably be, I still think Bitfarms, and I mean, looking at Riot right now, Riot is way undervalued from where it probably should be. So probably those two, right? That. Who else could we include in there? Hive is way undervalued, but they don't have a lot of growth. Great operations though, great team there. But yeah, based on just what I'm seeing here, I would go with maybe Bitfarms and Riot. Do you think Bitfarms is having to dilute more shares than other miners using the ATM with such a low stock price? Well, that's going to be the case, Gary. Whenever your stock price is low, you're having to dilute more shares in order to get the same amount of dollars, right? A company that has a $10 stock price wants to get $1 million, right, has to dilute a lot less shares than somebody that has a stock price of $1, right? You're basically diluting a million shares at that point compared to the company that has $10. You're diluting only 100,000 shares. Big difference there. So yeah. Let's see here. SH says I bought 145,000 Bitfarms shares on Friday at $2.50. Where do you see Bitfarms trading at before the end of the year? Thanks. If they okay, so there's a lot of ifs here. If they can get a CEO in place, if they can get Riot off their backs as well, and they get to 21 exahash by the end of the year, or at least close to it. I'm not saying that they have to get 21 exahash, but at least close to it. At that point, I would expect the stock to be like at $10 or more, depending where Bitcoin also goes. That's a big if there. Yes, especially the like boyzos and girls. Thank you. Yeah, helps out the channel. If you guys could do that, I appreciate it. Bitfarms price prediction at Bitfarms price at 17 exahash, 21 exahash, 35 exahash. Depends on where Bitcoin's going to be at that point, right? And if they can get a CEO, get right off their back. Like I said, if they can get to, by the end of the year, to 21 exahash or close to that, with Bitcoin getting up to maybe 120,000 or something like that, or 100,000, I think they should be at least between like $7 to $10 at that point, at the very least. Hello, Seb. Is there an easy way to track how much Bitcoin is part of the S&P 500 index fund market, assuming some companies will hold it on their balance sheet? Oh, good question. I do not know. S&P 500. The only way we could track it is when the companies report they have it on their balance sheet. So, I mean, you have to go through 500 companies to see if they have it. Let's see. Germany sold Bitcoin worth about $40 million, but there are a couple of Germans in the government that want Germany to not sell, but instead keep it for the future. Yeah, I mean, you could do that, or you could even, I think they're selling it on the market, right? You could also sell it to OTCs potentially. That wouldn't have an impact on it, but you know, they're not favorable towards Bitcoin, so they're going to put it on the market itself. Do you think there is an insider club that manipulates the BTC price in a bigger way? Gosh, I mean, there could be. You know, we always have the whales in there, right? They're always going to be a part of this. But I think it's also, a lot of it is sentiment driven. You know, Germany selling, Mt. Gox as well. All those things contribute to it as well on the shorter time spans sometimes. But we'll see. Freedom says, I have Cleanspark, Bitfarms, Iren since 2022. My portfolio in BTC value is the same as it was at the 73 high. Miners already front run BTC down. Now BTC price cut down to the miners. Now they are even. Okay. That's an interesting take on that. Let's see. Bitcoin is down 8 to 13% since a week ago. Paying for retail. Yeah, I mean, we just need sometimes a little shakeout. I think it's good. Let's see. Wouldn't be surprised to see the miners lead again, either way down or way up. I mean, it looks like right now they're kind of leading to the upside. Maybe. We'll see. Is BitDigital deep in the AI HPC business? Well, deep. I mean, they do have a customer there that's paying them $97 million a year to do that. So they are pretty deep in it. So I think it's right now they're more profitable business segment. If you look at June numbers for them, it was around $4 million in Bitcoin revenue. So multiply that times 12, you got 48 million. Right? They're going to be getting 97 million in from HPC. If you had the power to make BTC go down to 40 by the end of summer, would you do it? It might be the great accumulation before the big run-up. Would I do it? If it meant the miners were going down, I could buy more, and then yeah, heck yeah, I would do it. Brad asked, did you ever play Magic the Gathering? No, I did not. AKA the Mt. Gox. Yeah. Let's see. historically, the halving year when BTC is below 30 on the RSI was extremely smart to buy. Yeah, I would agree. Right. I mean, right now we're still only, what is it now, 65, 70 days past having an event or something like that. We're going to have this volatility in the market right now with Bitcoin. We could come down a little bit more, like I said, to maybe 51,000 before everything is said and done. At that point, I would expect us to possibly start bouncing up a little bit here. But last cycles, Bitcoin hasn't, reached the new 52-week high or the new all-time high until, what was it, in 12 to 18 months out. So we're still very early in here. Do you see other companies trying to buy Bitfarms beside Riot? Thanks. Let's see. Yeah, Brad says Cleanspark tried to buy them out, or at least Cleanspark was in the discussions there, potentially. We don't know if they made any offers or anything like that, but they were definitely in discussions there. Bitfarms said that there were other people also interested. Don't know who those could have been, but they could have been in there, so I don't know. Let's see here. 97 says, I'm just waiting for the fourth quarter pump. Yeah, we should get it. Usually September, October, November are usually pretty good months here for us in Bitcoin. So we'll see where things go. And let's see where Bitcoin's at right now. Is it still trading the same way it has been trading here for a while? Let's take a look at it really quick. Yeah, it's at 55,000 right now. So hopefully, maybe the 53,700 mark will hold. If it doesn't, like I said, we might just get a wick down like we did here to 53.7, get down to 51,000, and at that point possibly go up. But we'll see. Right? I think I need a couple more days to see if this 1 hour chart and the RSI looks good on it. Right now it's looking pretty good here. I think we have a little bit more, like I said, price is up higher from here to there. RSI is the same. That usually leads to a good turnaround, but we'll see. Time will tell all things. Okay, but I think I am all caught up to you guys' questions here if there's nothing else. Let's see. Seb, could you do a technical analysis on Bitcoin support resistance, your take on RSI, etc.? Yeah, well, I just did that kind of right now. Let's see here. If we look at the screen here. So like I said, I think if 53,700 holds, we'll be in good shape. If it doesn't, we might get a wick down to 51, like I said before. The RSI, I just talked about that, where if you look at the RSI currently, we are lower in price at the same RSI, which is not a good thing on the 1 day chart. On the 1 hour chart, if you look at the RSI here to here, price is lower at that point from where it is here. So our price is higher right now on the same RSI, which I think maybe will be the sign of a new reversal for us to go up higher. But we'll see. All right, there's nothing concrete in Bitcoin on the price movements that it has. So we'll see. Okay. And I think, let's see here. Let's see. I think BTC crashing will create some bankruptcy scenarios and cheap mining buying opportunities to increase exahash. Maybe, right? But it would have to be for a sustained period of time. This little pullback that we're having right now, it's been a couple of days, almost a week or two or something like that. We would need it to be for a couple of months, I think, in order to feel the max pain and for some of these miners here. All right. But yeah, I think we're done here. Himenashi, thank you so much for the super chat. Greatly appreciate it. I almost missed that one. We got one more here. Sorry. So would you choose Riot over CORZ now? How about BitDeer? I'm thinking of selling some Mara to buy some of the above. CORZ has had a pretty nice run up here. I mean, I think long-term CORZ will do well, right? Their revenue's not going to be coming in until next year, sometime for the HPC business, probably around this time next year. What else? If they can grow their hash rate this year with the warrants that are getting exercised, I think that would be a good thing. That might be a next catalyst to move the stock up for them. And then who was the other one that you had in there as well? How about BitDeer? BitDeer, same thing with them. Not much growth this year. They are supposedly getting into HPC AI as well. Right, they're going to be working with customers there. They do have a huge pipeline going forward and a lot of growth in megawatts going into 2025 and 2026. But that's not until then. Again, not much growth here this year, more so into 2025, 2026. with that being said, where Riot is right now and where Riot has been performing over the last 52 weeks, I think Riot might be a better play there, but I could be wrong on that one. I don't know if the sentiment is going to change on Riot anytime soon. The only way I could see that changing is if maybe they get off Bitfarms, right? Just basically wash their hands of that deal or whatever, and have much better uptime at Corsicana. If they can do those two things, I think the stock will pop at that point, because it should at that point. Okay. Yes, thanks for the stream and have a good night. Yeah, you're very welcome. Thank you so much for everyone coming in here. But we'll call it a day here. And it looks like, based on my question here, would Bitcoin reach 51,000 by the, or, is Bitcoin going to 51,000? We still have 55% of you guys saying that it would. So we'll see if it happens, right? I'm not ruling it out. I'm not saying that it can't happen. I'm thinking that it might happen. We might get a wick down to there and then finally take off from there. That's it. All right. I think, let's see here. Yeah, that's it. I'm all done with your guys' questions here. All right. So it's an easy day tonight. All right. Again, let me just say this. Thank you so much for coming in to watch this. Greatly appreciate you guys. Always great questions. And thank you so much for the super chats and the tips and everything else. You guys are fantastic. Hope you guys have a great week. We'll see what happens. I think I'm still waiting on Hive to provide their June updates for us. If they do, then we can get into the monthly minor metrics, and I'll give them till the 10th. I'll give them so basically Wednesday, I think, to get that in here. That should be plenty of time for them to get it in here. And yeah, we'll look at some metrics for the monthly stuff after that. Okay, so have a great week, everyone. Thank you again. Have a great night. I'll see you in the next one.